Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from the Better Business Bureau here in Wisconsin is our friend Tiffany Schultz. Tiffany, welcome back. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being back. Today we're going to be talking about planning the perfect wedding. Whew, this is a tough one. So what is the perfect wedding? That you solve that answer today, then we'll solve everything here. But planning a wedding is a lot. Both you and I, we're married. We got married a long time ago. Things have changed, certainly. But there's a lot of things that go into wedding planning. And I sort of thinking like when you're hiring a contractor to like build your house or something, like you think about those steps. Weddings have so many different variables and things and people that you're working with. It can be a lot.
When you're planning a wedding, essentially you're working with small business owners and medium-sized business owners, and you need to be checking out those companies, those contractors that you're working with, just like you're checking out somebody to do work in your house. So you want to make sure that you're working with a legitimate business and not a scammer who's out to take your money.
Well, let's dive into it. The first one about researching before hiring. I mean, anytime you're going to hire somebody, you should do some research, but what would be some key factors when you're looking at wedding specific vendors and trying to pick the best one?
A wedding vendor is a business, regardless if it's a venue, a caterer, a party planner, and you want to make sure that you're doing your homework on that company just like you would do your homework on any other company. You can start your homework at bbb.org, read reviews and complaints, do an internet search on the company name, follow it by customer reviews and complaints, ask for recommendations from friends and family. If you had friends that had gotten married before you, love the vendor, ask for those recommendations, but do your homework and make sure that you are getting everything in writing. And we'll talk about this a little bit later too. So it basically is a contract between you and the business when you are hiring these wedding vendors.
It is a lot of contract or a lot of contracts you're going to be signing and reviewing, so you definitely want to do that. How about paying up front? So if somebody's like, yeah, I'm going to need 100% down before we do this, is that a good idea?
Never pay 100% up front. Regardless if somebody tells you they want to make it easy on your wedding day, don't pay 100% up front. The rule of thumb when paying a contractor is a third down, a third in the middle of the job, and the third when you're finally satisfied with the work. Now, when it comes to weddings, it can be a little bit different because you're not going to be in the middle of your wedding and pay a third down. So maybe negotiate those contract terms with the vendor. It definitely is more appropriate to put something down to hold your date. But you always want to pay with a credit card too, not a debit card. If that business goes out of business, you are going to have a lot more protections using a credit card than a debit card. And never just pay with a cash app or a prepaid gift card. If that's your only way to pay, you could be dealing with a scammer.
Yeah, doubling down on checking the prices when you're comparing. I mean, you want to compare prices with vendors, but a lot of I mean, it's probably not this time of year, but earlier in the years, you get the wedding shows that happen, and there might be exclusive pricing for the shows, whatever. But how do you make sure that you're locking in the price, so to speak, and that doesn't change on you?
Those should be questions that you ask up front. Some of those vendors at wedding shows are going to have specials for the wedding show only. You can negotiate that if you keep that price, if you can make a decision in the next 3 months, can I still have that price? If you're just assuming that price is going to be available when you're ready to book it, that could be a red flag. So make sure that you know what you're paying and what it's going to cost you, and beware of those extra fees too that may be add-ons later.
The cake cutting fee is a real fee, by the way, and a corkage fee, that's a real fee. So, when you, one question I think to ask too is when you're going down the list of all these items, I always think you got to get a detailed breakout. Like, give me the line by line of how these things are going to cost because you're talking down to the plate. If it's dinner, it's down to the plate, it's down to the bar, it's down to the drink, it's down to like, there are just so many things that can pop up on you that you don't want to find out, like, oh man, I didn't plan for all these things.
There can be plate sharing fees, there can be cleaning fees, and are they negotiable? So that's something that as a couple that you may be able to negotiate. You want to know your total cost up front and not be surprised with $1,000 in fees when your wedding is said and done.
Kind of going back to the you mentioned about getting everything in writing, when it comes to like picking a or making sure that you're filling out a contract that is going to be binding for both parties, how do you kind of verify that going into something like this? Are there some certain categories that people should look for, or do some reviews about contracts in general before they sign anything?
It's really important that everything is in writing, including dates, times, cost, guarantees. Read that fine print. Don't just sign the contract. And when you're planning a wedding and you're securing vendors, it's a really exciting time and you're just ready to sign on the line. And a DocuSign or a digital contract, sometimes it's really easy to miss that fine print. You want to read that fine print. Have somebody else read the contract for you too to make sure that nothing is being missed in that contract. Brides and grooms who have gotten married before you may have learned something along the way, and you don't want to fall into that trap too. So just make sure that what's in writing is what you're expecting and what everybody is agreeing to.
And then the final one here is confirm all the services 1 to 2 weeks prior. You want to verify that everything is good to go. There's no surprises. There's no, the vendor, the place maybe had a thing happen to them or whatever the case may be. You want to be on checking all those things before you get to the day of.
This is such an important piece of the puzzle. As your wedding date gets closer, it's going to be more chaos. But it's so important to go ahead and verify those vendors that you're working with. What time are they going to be arriving? Are there any last minute things that you need to take care of? How can I secure payment? Are you putting a card on file? Is somebody going to be responsible with giving them an envelope on the wedding day? Secure those final details so that you can go into your big day knowing that everything is taken care of.
All right. Well, if you want to learn more, we've talked about this about working with contractors in general. Certainly, there's a lot of literature out there on this that I would certainly, as you're kind of diving into this, congratulations first off if you're engaged and going to be going and getting hitched. But really reviewing the contracts and working with vendors is something that I think you want to review before you get into this because you're going to be signing a whole bunch of contracts, talking to a whole bunch of people. It just gets to be a lot. So I think you've got some great resources out there, I bet, for these folks to definitely dive into to learn more, right?
Head on over to bbb.org.
There you go. All right. Well, there you have it. Congratulations again to all of the soon-to-be couples out there getting married, and appreciate your time as always, Tiffany, for helping us out.
Thanks for having me today.